Bisection. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to bisect shapes. In order to understand this lesson completely, you'll need to understand the addition postulates, both the segment addition and the angle addition postulates. You'll have to know how to solve multi-step equations, and since we'll be dealing with angles, you'll have to know how to name angles. We use bisect to find measurements in geometric problems. So, in this lesson, we are going to use bisection to write an equation and then solve the equation. To bisect means to divide into two equal sections or two equal parts. Bi means two, sect means sections, so bisect is two sections. So if we take a look at this rectangle, if I bisect it, I get two little rectangles that are equal. That's important to remember as we start to look at how we and when we bisect segments and angles. When we bisect a segment, we bisect with a point. That point is called a midpoint. And what that midpoint will do is it will divide our segment into two little segments that are equal. So in other words, AM will be the same as MB. Since they are the same, sometimes we think about it that it takes two of the AMs to equal the AB, or likewise, it takes two of the MBs to equal the giant AB. Now, when we bisect an angle, we bisect an angle with an angle bisector, and what we create are two little angles that are completely equal. So in other words, angle ATV is the same as angle BVT. Again, it would take two of the little ATVs to make up a giant angle. And likewise, it would take two of the little BVTs to equal the giant angle. Let's take a look at our first example. If VT is the angle bisector of the giant angle, then find the measure of the giant angle. Since we know only one of the little parts, and we know that both of those parts are the same, it will take two of the 21 degrees to equal the giant angle, or 42 equals angle AVB, or the measure of angle AVB is 42 degrees. Let's look at our next section. We know that M is the midpoint of AB. What's the length of one of the little parts? Since we know that AM and MB are the same, it takes two of these little MBs to equal the giant segment. Or it takes two of the MBs to equal 12. We'll divide both sides by 2. MB equals 6. Or for our final answer, MB equals 6 centimeters. Let's look at this last example with expressions. We know that ray JP is the bisector of the giant angle. We're going to solve for x. So we know that angle UJP is worth 12x minus 7. We knew angle PJL is worth 5x plus 28. And since we have an angle bisector, we know that those two angles are worth the same. So I'll substitute and set them equal to each other. In this case, I'm going to subtract the smaller variable from both sides and simplify. I will move my numbers to the right-hand side and simplify. After I divide both sides by 7, we get that x equals 5, which is our final answer. So those are some examples on how we would use bisection to write an equation and then solve that equation.